Welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. I am That Guy Talks Movies, and this I want to talk about. This is the Criterion Collection, Malcolm X, 1992, Spike Lee joint, Denzel Washington. This is Criterion 4K UHD, and I pre-ordered this when it was first announced on the Criterion website, and I just got it. So I wanted to quickly talk about it and just share some thoughts and some observations on this actual disc. So I'll do that right now. Right now I'll do that. But before I do that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button there and join me on this journey as I talk about movies and I talk about collecting media and all that stuff and movies and such. So if you're into that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. All right. For those of you who already subscribed and you're with me, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Let's get into this. So Spike Lee joint, Malcolm X. This actually is one of my favorite films of all time. And it's also what I consider Spike Lee's best film of all time. While his other films, Do the Right Thing, School Days, Crooklyn, all these other movies, obviously, She's Gotta Have It, set his status as an auteur filmmaker and have his stamp on them. I feel like this is the one that separates him the most in terms of his ability to put together material and to capture the essence of a story, especially covering this man's life, Malcolm X, one of the greatest civil rights leaders, one of the greatest leaders, period, in American history. And I feel Spike did a great job. You're covering 3 decades of this man's life, this pivotal, incredibly profound man's life and what he went through, and going through the history and the flashbacks of his father's death and the racism and the violence and his mother and the destruction of the family and him going into that life and going into institutions and then going into jail and then the crime life. And then, his ascent into the Nation of Islam and his, rise there and then the descent and then the assassination. I just think it was covered brilliantly and it was shot spectacularly by Ernest Dickerson, and the score by Terrence Blanchard is one to behold. So the overall effort, the performances, obviously Denzel Washington playing Malcolm X and channeling the spirit of that man and being able to orate like that, one of the greatest orators of all time, and the eloquence of that man and the ability to capture the way he captured Malcolm was set the bar for so many biopics and performances come after that, including Angela Bassett, who's also in this, who plays Betty Shabazz and does a fantastic job. But her performance as Tina Turner later on, the performance of Jamie playing Ray later on, and so on and so on. Let's get into the actual, now that you know how much I love the movie, and I could talk about that for a long time. Let's get into the actual disc itself. This is the front of the box. And if we slide from the slipcover, the back has information on the actual disc and such and what's contained within. And then we've got this wonderful artwork here on the front side. And on the back side, we've got a shot of Denzel as Malcolm, right? If we open this up, we've got a magazine kind of thing here, booklet with a still there. Malcolm again. There is some artwork in here and stills and information on the film and such like that. And then there's the 3 disc. So you've got the 4K UHD disc, you've got the Blu-ray, and then the Blu-ray with the actual special features, which we'll get into in a second. There's artwork here behind this disc. Great shot of Denzel as Malcolm waiting for Brother Johnson outside the police station. Until I'm sure Brother Johnson gets medical attention, nobody will move. I love that scene. Anyway, so those are the discs. Let's talk about the actual movie itself. So I own the DVD of this. Another one of these movies, sort of like Reservoir Dogs. If you saw my last video on Reservoir Dogs, that's a movie I never went to the Blu-ray. Same thing with Malcolm X. As much as I love this film, never owned the Blu-ray. DVD. So my reference is I got this the other night. I got this Monday, November 20th. I got this. And I watched it. I got maybe halfway through. So I can just give you my initial impressions on what it looks like as far as a 4K UHD. It's Dolby Vision 4K from the original 35 millimeter, scan from the original 35 millimeter. And it's Dolby Vision HDR. It's a 5.1 master audio, DTS master audio. And starting with the audio, I can tell you that it's nothing, groundbreaking or earth shattering, which it shouldn't be, right? Because it's a biopic, right? It's not an action film. So you do get really great. So when he's orating and he's speaking in front of the nation, when he's delivering speeches early on and even later on when he gets a much more massive crowd, you get really, really great audio from the center channel. The surrounds as far as the crowd, even at the very, very opening credits where they're announcing, who do you want to hear? let's bring him on, Malcolm X. And you hear everyone cheering for him. You hear that in the surrounds really well. Also, Terrence Blanchard's score is really highlighted very, very well with the audio and the way that's done. So the audio is spectacular. As far as the video goes, from what I'm looking at, and again, I'm not referencing this against the previous 1080p Blu-ray and that video. I'm referencing it based on DVD, right? So, and just my initial thoughts. It looks fantastic. I think that it's probably going to be the best looking that the film has looked since it's been available for home ownership, right? That probably goes without saying. What I can tell right away is the grain structure on this is interesting because you'll see it shift from, those flashback scenes or more dreamlike sequences, more gooey kind of sequences, like when he's with Sophia in the back of the car and the moonlight is there. Clearly like heavy grain structure. The flashback scenes, almost the same thing. But then there are several moments in the film where you get the police officers' uniforms outside and the Nation of Islam, the Fruit of Islam outside, and then their suits and the hats. And you can see really clear detail, and it's not as so much grain. It's not as present. So there's plenty of detail and shadows in this, especially with a lot of the dark. Again, you have that scene in front of the hospital, in front of the police station, waiting for Brother Johnson. And you've got that whole, spans of crowd and dark coats and such, and it all kind of shines really, really nice. So I got to say that the dynamic range on this and the color grade, everything is done correct, and it looks fantastic. I can't wait to finish watching it. So that's my take on the actual video and on the audio. The special features I am really looking forward to. So again, there's 3 discs. The 3rd disc with the special features includes a commentary from the 2005 disc. So it was ported over to this one. It's a feature with Spike Lee, Eric Dickerson, editor Barry Alexander Brown, and costume designer Ruth E. Carter. Then there's a bunch of new stuff on the Criterion disc. So there's new conversation between Lee and journalist and screenwriter Barry Michael Cooper. There are separate interviews with actor Delroy Lindo, who is fantastic. West Indian Archie. I think he should get an Oscar for that. And composer Terrence Blanchard. Again, fantastic with the score. There's a program about making of the film featuring Lee, Dickerson, Brown, Blanchard, Carter, filmmaker Martin Scorsese, actor Ozzie Davis, Reverend Al Sharpton, former Warner Brothers executive Lucy Fisher. There's producers talking on here. Malcolm X's daughter, one of his daughters. There's a Malcolm X 1972 feature-length documentary produced by Marvin Worth, and it's narrated by James Earl Jones. There are deleted scenes with introductions by Spike Lee. So it's chock full of new material for anyone who owned the previous Blu-ray, or anyone who doesn't own the movie at all. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of that. I'm very into the behind the scenes and the stories of, how something happened, and the script details and the audio commentaries from actors and directors and editors and such. I think it's fascinating, and this is a really good one. They didn't cheap out when it comes to that stuff. So if you don't own this at all, you should definitely pick this up without question. If you own the DVD like I do, or you own a Blu-ray, it's without question definitely worth an upgrade. So the artwork alone, the special features alone is worth the upgrade. So that's my take on Malcolm X. As I said, I think it's one of Spike Lee's greatest films. I think it is his best film. I think it's one of Denzel's best performances, if not his best performance. And I think the movie itself falls in the category somewhere within my top 3 movies of all time. I'd like to even spend more time talking about it, but perhaps on another video. All right. That's it for That Guy Talks Movies. If you plan on picking this disc up, or you've already pre-ordered it, let me know in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the actual film itself. And that's really it. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button on the way out. Hit the like button if you like this video. I truly appreciate that. It helps keep things moving. It helps me stay motivated, and it helps the YouTube algorithm, people, and all the things behind the scenes. It keeps things going. So again, thank you for being here. I will see you on the next That Guy Talks Movies.